Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome to United View. Welcome to the morning view. With the season officially over, it's done. We can all breathe because there's nothing more important there. There's nothing more going on. There's nothing more to look forward to. There's nothing more to be scared about. It's over. It's in the past, which it is in the past, but this week is massive. We've got to face Man City in the FA Cup final at Wembley. Yes, it's massive. It's massive. Smash the like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Obviously, the season in terms of 38 games is over. That is true. But we've got a lot to talk about, a lot of fallout from this season. A little bit of a season analysis today as well. Eric Ten Hag, some of his quotes reflecting on the season, talking about the FA Cup as well. We need to do that. There's a few Andre Onana quotes from the overlap. So, during the show, if more of those come out, we'll pick up on some of those. And Onana in general. Who starts the final? All of the conversation has kind of been shifting towards that. From when we knew we were playing for nothing, probably after the Burnley game was when we realised, like, okay, we've drawn against Burnley. That's everything sort of kind of gone. When it's all been gearing up to this final and the talks have intensified amongst the fans anyway, amongst us lot, about who should start, trying to guess into the minutes, always taking this person off, this person started, it means this, it means that, really cryptic. Do you know what I mean? But yes, a lot to get through during the show. First of all, sorry for being late this morning. Me and me only. Accountability.
Flex. It was Flecknology. We do have some quotes actually on this, on Flex this morning. We've got a quote from Kenny.
It's graceful. Absolutely disgraceful.
What else, Kenny?
Absolutely woeful. Absolutely woeful.
Was it poor?
Poor, and I mean poor.
Excuse me, poor.
Kenny's a legend. They're just so perfect for when you need them. Like, he gave you it's like you put him in a sound booth and went, right, put these headphones on. Here's the mic. I need you to give me this, and this. Like,
say woeful.
Absolutely woeful. Absolutely woeful.
It's the second. It's when he follows them up. Oh, they're brilliant. They're brilliant. Yeah, sorry, Kenny. Exactly. Uncle Kenny has spoken to me, so I apologize. I do also want to say, before we start, well, first of all, nearly 500 people watching and over 100 likes. You guys know what to do. Like the video. 91% of you said you've liked the video. The rest of you are doing it now, so that's good. Tabarez has got his first chat of the day, first members chat of the day, which I'll get to in a sec. But I do want to thank all of you. Just for supporting the channel, supporting us. I know a lot of you guys in the chat yesterday, and some of you, a lot of doing it today, have been like, listen, thank you, UV community. Thanks for getting us through the season, etc., etc. And listen, you are most welcome. But it's right back at you lot as well, man. It's a two-way thing. It really is. If me, Owen, KG, and the rest of the UV gang, like, if we, come to do this and you lot aren't there, we can't do it. We can't do it.
Difficult to do a show with no people, isn't it?
It's difficult to do a show with no people. And not just do a show with no people, the fact that we just keep growing and growing and growing, our community keeps increasing, and the way you lot will talk to each other, look after each other, and meeting you guys in real life, some of you who have managed to been lucky enough to do that, has been so sick. And some of you at the games every week as well, just showing up, showing out. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing. And it's only gonna increase. Like, me and Owen were talking about this morning show, this time last year when we did it versus, this time 2 years ago, etc., etc. Just that growth, the comments, the members chats, the different emojis, the sound of, like, everything's just growing. You guys as a community, how we interact with you, being able to have your opinion, say it. We respond back like this, that. Sometimes we don't agree. Sometimes we don't get on. Some people lose respect for each other, but we bring it back. Like, it's wicked, man. It's wicked.
Families fight.
Yeah.
Families fight. But at the end of the day, what are they? Flex their family. Yeah.
Still family.
That's what it's about.
Still
Family.
Family.
My Vin Diesel impression, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, I just wanted to start the show off by saying that. And Tabrez, being a member for 3 months, says, here to give Flex, Owen, and Kilogram and co, so that's everyone involved in the channel as well, their flowers. Let's keep this community growing, guys. Ten Hag will bring the glory days back. Hashtag Ten Hag Defense League, hashtag glory United View. Yes, big up to you, Tabarez. Always at the games, always show love.
Yes, indeed. Now, Flex, yesterday, like you said, the curtain came down on the Premier League. And so we're so used, aren't we, to Manchester United in recent years, to the end of the season, just kind of ignoring a lot of the bigger stuff that happens in the league at that point. I haven't seen anything about Manchester City or Arsenal or anything like that. Once the season was over yesterday, I very quickly came off of everything. Went, all right, I'm just going to watch some TV.
I had a cheeky look, Owen. I had a cheeky look.
I
What was
couldn't.
going
I
on?
didn't. I've got used to it.
Yeah,
I've got used
I
to it
hear
at this
you.
point. I don't even, don't have a look at anything like that. But we did finish 8th, our lowest finish in the Premier League ever. Interesting, which we'll get to in just a second, that there's a lot of dispute about whether or not it's our worst Premier League season ever, because some people are saying, well, we've had less points before, so it's points versus position. It's that kind of debate we're having. But the Manchester United,
It's
an interesting one
to have.
It's an interesting one. The Manchester United manager, Eric Ten Hag, was asked about the 8th place finish after the game, and he said, it's difficult, but we've talked before over this, and it was a very tough season for us. We know it's not good enough by far. Simple. There are reasons, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's Manchester United. He continued by saying, you have to finish higher, and this is not good enough. We know the competition is tough. We have 60 points. 2 years ago, it was 58, and we were 6th. Now, 60 and 8th. But it is not good enough. We're disappointed. We did end it with a little bit of optimism. He said, we've got players returning and it's important they're fit for the final, but also to return to some patterns. I think it's clear to see that once we had players back in their positions, when we have original defenders available, again, our levels are increasing. So certainly, look, Eric Ten Hag not hiding from the fact that it's not good enough. You can't dress it up, and whatever reason you want to give for this season, look, there are plenty of I don't know if reasons are the right word, but there are plenty of sort of arguments, isn't there? There's plenty of arguments, plenty of factors that people cite, whether or not you believe them to be more important or have more weight than the others. I suppose that's up to you. But certainly he's not hiding away from, regardless, Manchester United cannot finish 8th in the Premier League. Like you cannot do that. But as we just sort of hinted at there, and as Ten Hag mentioned in his press conference, well, how do you see it when it comes to the points versus position? What's worse? Is it where you end up, or is it the amount of points that you get?
It's a bit of both. It is, and I know people hate that. Like, you just say it's left or it's right. Just say it's A or it's B. But I believe the truth about that is there's always context to everything. Because it's like saying, well, when we came second, well, we're second, mate. We're the second best team in the league.
Yeah.
But when we finished second, how many points were we behind first? And what type of season were the other teams having? And there's some caveats. You can't just always say that. But then this is where, again, it's like push back a bit. It's like, well, in whatever season it is, 38 games tells the story of the season. For whatever reasons, if someone had injuries or their best player was out, so it meant they couldn't score as many goals, whatever it is, if you still accumulated more points than Team X or Team Y, you've been better this season. But sometimes it can be a little bit false, because you could say you were kind of lucky to get that second place. The football you were playing is not sustainable. If you're looking at something that will carry you forward to be a really good team, you're not getting steady year-on-year progression. You're having a scatter graph. Some bits are up there, some bits are down there, some bits are in the middle. You're doing this. So you're in a worse position than the team that's sort of gone 8th, 5th, 3rd, 2nd, playing good football. And really, let's just use Arsenal as a parameter for that. Like, when they finish 8th, it's horrible. It's shocking, embarrassing. But then they got more points.
Season, though, they got more points when they finished 8th as well.
They got more points, and this is where that's where the intensity of the league can the bar of the league can get higher. So, like I said, what would get you 8th or what would get you 6th last year won't get you that this year. What will get you 2nd or what will get you 3rd last year won't get it this year, because it usually gets better each year, or sometimes there's a bit of an anomaly and things crash and it goes down. So, to answer your question, I think you have to go with what you really are seeing. like with your eyes, game in, game out. And I guess it's been hard for us to do that because of the lack of team that we've had to put out. So from that point of view, we can't even judge Ten Hag from like he's had all of his players and all of his signings ready to go, and this is the best you could do, because we know that isn't true with all the injuries. And the second point though is like, well, you've clearly, like you've said, the last 3 games or so, 4 games, you've gone a bit more conservative. You found some different options to the shit that you've been put in. There's other ways to do things. So I don't really know what my answer is.
It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. I can see the arguments on both sides to this because, as you mentioned, rightfully so, people will point out, well, we've never in the Premier League, not in the first division, but in the Premier League, we have never finished lower. That is a fact. But at the same time, we have had less points in the Premier League season. That is also a fact. So it depends, again, how much you weight it. Either way, we're kind of splitting hairs, aren't we? Really, because also when it comes to the points, I think there's like 2 points in it or something as well. So it's not a lot. So, I mean, it's basically historically, it's one of the worst seasons ever, right? If not the worst, depending on.
Sorry, Owen. What did we get when we finished 6th with Ralph and Ollie? What did we get then?
I think it was 58. Let me double check. That was 21-22 season, right?
Yeah.
22 Premier League table. That was. We finished up on 58 points. Yes, it was 2 points less.
So we've only got 2.
out of curiosity, that season we finished 7th with David Moyes. How many points was that? That was 64 points. That was 4 points more.
So back then, and when did we finish there? 7th.
7th. Yeah.
So that was 2013-14 season.
Yep.
Yeah. We got what? 50, we got 64 points.
64 points. 4 points
and we
better.
Finished 7th.
Yeah, and we finished 7th.
So right now, 64 points would have got us 6th. Yeah, we would have finished 6th. So again, it's about right. But we've got less
at the same
points.
time, that season, Southampton finished 8th, and they were 4 points worse than we are in 8th.
See? So, and that's what I mean. There is context, but really, you have to just look at what your team did, how they did it, and are you seeing improvements? Because the league will have disparities like that year on year.
We're splitting hairs, aren't we?
We're crap.
We're splitting hairs.
We shouldn't polish this turd, as they say.
No,
we have to, and we shouldn't lower the bar and try and find ways to say, well, in another season we could have. No, it's shit. We finished 8th, bro. Simple as.
Yeah. It's not good. It's not good.
Yeah.
And look, when Ten Hag was saying that after the game, that's been my thing all season with him. It's just accountability. It's not been good enough. And I look to once the season ends, then you can start pinpointing certain games and certain moments that at the time when it happens and you get put a bit of pushback about you being hysterical or you're being sort of overly negative or you're putting too much importance on it. It's not that important. Turns out they were pretty important. So you look at the shots faced all season. And remember earlier on where it doesn't matter, it's about, are you winning the games and what have you? But you look at where we finished in the end this season. You look at that, we finished 8th. How have we finished 8th? We finished 8th on goal difference. Turns out all of those goals conceded, pretty important, weren't they? That was pretty important. You look at those late goals that we can remember that period of time where we just, when was it? Like March, where it felt like every game we were throwing away the lead late on, whether it was against Chelsea, Brentford, Liverpool. Those points could have actually got us into the Europa League. That's the difference. How many points we finished behind Chelsea? 3 in the end. Yeah. So those points we dropped against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge would have been level.
From winning the game 3-2 with like 4 minutes to go.
Yeah. Or you're looking at against Liverpool at Old Trafford with the penalty that went against us, 2-2. The Brentford one, played terrible, scored in the last minute. They go and score. Like that's stuff. It matters. It really, really matters. And I'm not even talking about, the sort of the big defeats at home or the stuff again against Bournemouth or Fulham or what have you. Because even the Fulham one to an extent, we got back to 1-1 and we threw that away late on. That stuff really does matter. Like those points, that right there is like what, 5-10 extra points. If that was the case, with 10 extra points, yeah, we'd be fourth. Like that again, that stuff really matters. So throughout the season, when you're talking about those kind of things, it's those, to steal a phrase from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it is those like fine margins, isn't it? That what's really cost us this season is the game management and those late goals. That's what's cost us from, that's the difference between finishing 8th and finishing like 6th or 5th in a really bad season. And that sort of stuff is so frustrating, because once you see the finish table and all the data's in, all of the information is there, the points are there, the goals are there, all that kind of stuff, you then look at those games and go, that was the one. We thought it was like, oh, we're losing at home to Bournemouth or whatever, but it really wasn't. It was those games that we were in control of. We had those games, and we threw that away.
And when you're looking at when you said when everything's locked in, and you look at all of the traditional top 8 there of what it really pretty much is, it changes order. But Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa, Spurs, Chelsea, Newcastle, us, then West Ham just below. We're the most horrific out of all. Like, and even the teams below us. So you're looking at sort of Crystal Palace, what they were doing if there were more games, and how they've been with Oliver Glasner. It's been unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Even recently, it's Burnley at home, and that 1-1, 2 extra
That's
points.
What I'm saying.
That's 7.
2 extra points. There you go. We would have got it. Brighton, I know it's the Derby and stuff, or Bournemouth doing well. So there's teams even below us that you can look at that say are better teams than us as a team unit, like know what they're doing, had a good season. Crystal Palace have ended up having a good season. Like, because you take the Roy Hodgson thing out of it, look what they've done and look what they've built. They finished 10th, goals galore. They managed to get to -1 goal difference as well, by the way, just by scoring. So how far must they've been?
Last 5 games, 4 wins, 1 draw.
Absolutely emphatic. Do you know what I mean? So look, I just feel like you can't dress it up. We finished 8th out of all of them other teams, the ones that are above us, and it's like it's all our own fault. It's all our own fault. There's ways, because every team can say, there were games that we had in our hands, and Chelsea could say that, Newcastle could say that, Spurs could say that, Liverpool, how they dropped out the title race, they really could have done it in the end. What were they, 9 points off in the end? They could have done it, but they've realised where they've dropped off. If we didn't do that it all went wrong against Man United from the FA Cup, and we went on a slump. We couldn't. There's always ways we could say that for every team, and we're just a mess, and we only got ourselves to blame, to be honest with you. Reading out the chat, I do want to say it was a ridiculous day yesterday from Danny DeVito handing out loads of memberships to people, which was just crazy. Ray Carl Brown has continued that today, and he's gifted 5 memberships as well.
Big up to Ray. I spoke to him on the full-time view yesterday, called in. We had a good chat about the state of affairs at Manchester United, and a bit of optimism, a bit of disappointment, all that fun stuff. It was a good chat. Big up to Ray.
Yes, big up to Ray. And big up to Andy, the original old school United view hater. Says, Flex, you melt. How you feel coming second 2 years in a row?
Because he's saying you're an Arsenal fan. It's very clever.
Oh, right.
It's very, very clever.
Yeah.
Very clever.
Yeah, it's good. It's progress, mate. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Kenny Fan TV says, big up Flex. There needs to be a Flex in KG show at some point of time. And at this moment in time, I can't be asked about the managerial situation, but there will be a Flex in KG show tomorrow at 7 p.m. Can't be asked with the managerial situation. Well, I know, but it's just one of them things that are going to be there, isn't it? It's going to be there for a while. Ozzy says, Ozzy's just the latest member of the UV Members Club as well. And Andy, the original old school United view hater, is back again and says, 2 clowns on. Oh, as in me and you, Owen. We're 2 clowns. LOL. We lost 14 games for F's sake. Get him out. Andy making his feelings very, very clear.
Yeah, Andy's opinion. This is the thing. I mean, to go to what Kenny Fan TV was saying right there, unfortunately, I think the next, 2 weeks is going to probably be dominated by the managerial situation. Coming out of the FA Cup final, we're going to know, aren't we?
Yeah,
well,
we are.
Not say coming out of it, probably in the week after that, we're going to know whether or not he's staying, whether he's going. And we need to. Either way, we can't go
Everyone
into
does.
we can't go into next season with more uncertainty. And shout out the Muppeteers. I did see them tweet this yesterday, and it is true, saying like one thing's for certain, regardless of whatever you feel about it, going into next season, we do need to remove that element of uncertainty, don't we? Because if it's Ten Hag, he's the guy, then okay, we need to know that. If it's someone else, we need to know that, because the ambiguity we've seen for the last 6 months has hurt, hasn't it? It has been difficult. And going into another season of that, when you're talking about long-term build and long-term project and laying the foundations, that's not really that sustainable, is it? But then again, taking a step back and trying to look at things realistically here, with the market how it is, and with FFP and PSR and all that kind of stuff, I do lean into the more likely thing of, well, he's going to stay, but it's not like he's going to get a new contract. He's going to be like, oh, he's definitely the guy.
It's not a massive vote of confidence. It's not like it doesn't feel
I almost see it as like, okay, you're staying, but your probation period's extending. We'll reevaluate it at Christmas. Yeah. We'll reevaluate at Christmas. And then the only problem with that is, I suppose, then you have all of next season once again of going like, he, isn't he? What we doing? What we kind of doing?
So would you rather, I think I know your answer. So would you rather just sort of say, if you don't think he's a guy, let's do it all now and change. If you do think he's a guy, give him a new deal? Show that it is.
But the problem is, there is the only issue with that is there is a third option, isn't there? Like the third option is, well, we're not sure, and we don't have. He might not be the guy, but we don't know who the guy is, and the guy that may be in our mind isn't out there. So we'll wait, and then if that's the case, like, what happens? And again, I think that they might. That's the third option. Maybe.
And you know what, though, Owen? Even the third option, I don't even necessarily think that's wrong. If you're not sure that the guy who's out there next is out there, and I know people say, no, you just settle in because you're too scared to fit. If you genuinely don't think he's there now, available, attainable, don't change it, because it's just going to set us back. Like, if you really are not sure and you just need to see a bit more evidence, you want to see these injuries come back, see what sort of summer you have. Yeah. Give him the benefit of some sort of doubt. If you do want to do that, I get it. Yeah, but then we're going into next season. Then it could get to October and we've got to change manager. Or I get it, but this is football. Like, it's not perfect. You can't always write the perfect way to do things, and there's so much that needs to be done. What we don't need is signing up a new manager who you really aren't sure of, giving him a big contract from the start, bringing in a whole new coaching team, and you only just did it because you just got fed up with Eric. Like, so don't do that. It has to be someone you can think can align with your vision. And to be fair to Eric, and it is true, if there was going to be any benefit of doubt, it should be in that way of like, well, all right, cool. You keep saying all these injuries. You've said it all year. Let's get you all your players back fit. And obviously, this summer, we're going to take control of what we're doing.
Yeah, a lot's happened, isn't it?
A lot's going to change.
A lot's
happened.
So
let's just see how you look after all of this.
A lot, and that is, and this is the thing. Like, this season, it's kind of not cut and dry, is it? Because there have been a lot of injuries, and like the Ineos thing. That didn't even get confirmed until Christmas and then ratified till February. And you go, oh, okay. And then there was stuff off the pitch that happened, like we said, with the Sancho thing, and even with the Greenwood thing. People forget like that Greenwood thing at the beginning of this season, that transfer window, like that was a thing. Like, there's been a lot. There has been a lot. And like you said, if there ever was going to be a time to give the sort of benefit of the doubt, it might be now. And maybe Ineos do look at it and go, well, in an ideal world, these people were bringing in above him Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox, Dan Ashworth. We'd like to have them all in, and not only in, proper their feet under the table, and then we'll evaluate things. And maybe that happens again later on this year after the season started. Maybe that's what they do. I just think, again, all the reporting suggests that it's quite 50-50. And I do believe that's pretty accurate. I do believe it's 50-50. And like, there's still stuff that can change and still stuff that can happen, because again,
I'm running out of that now.
So just look at the managerial market. Just look at the managerial market. Like the last morning show we did Friday, we were like, well, everyone's kind of settled into their spots now. It is what it is. within a few days, Tuchel, De Zerbi, possibly Xavi are all out of a job. That's mad. That's crazy. And then you get those, and you know, Bayern are still looking for a manager, you know, which Eric might even be on that list. So like, there's still, I think, twists and turns. Like I said, if I had to predict it now, my first prediction was wrong, so who knows if this one will be right. But my prediction now is, it feels like there's more chance he'll be staying, but not out of total backing, more so out of like, let's figure out everything else first, maybe. But either way, in the next couple of weeks, we need to kind of know, I think, you know. And I don't, how did Ineos do that, do you think? If, like, let's say we lose the FA Cup final or whatever, or even if we win it, do you think they come out and just say, like, Eric's going to be staying? Is that what we're looking for? Because if we're saying he's not going to get a new contract, do they still have to come out? Because, or are we assuming if it gets to like July and nothing's happened, then nothing's going to happen. It's just going to carry on. But do we need that like concrete message of like, no, he's going to stay? Or does Ten Hag need to do a press conference or an interview going, yeah, I spoke with Ineos, I'm definitely going to be here next season?
Yeah,
we would like that?
We would like Bacon Butty says there, clarity. We do seek clarity. We do want to see clarity. Also, what can happen is the matter of assumption kicks in because the time's gone past and we're buying players and he's just.
That's what I mean. If we just hit nothing, well, I'm assuming he's staying.
Which the silence can speak for that. Like sometimes there's less noise around doing it that way because the longer you say nothing, okay, it builds up of like what's going on. But then when players arrive and then tour starts and he's at the first presser of tour, you go, okay, well, there's no point talking about this. He's here.
He's going to stay. Yeah.
But I think it would be good for them to clarify, either by Eric, but that first presser won't come till like August of when he has to actually speak to the media, or if he does an in-house thing with United with you know post FA Cup, either talking about winning it or losing it. You know, I'm looking forward to next year. You know, we've got good plans. We've spoke about what we want to do, so we're building already. Like if he does something where it's like hasn't really said that before, take it, he's staying. I'm just not sure. I don't think there will be club statement with a corner flag.
Yeah,
you know, Sir Jim on Eric's future and says we are working with Eric. I just don't see.
You think it'd be more like a Ten Hag interview of like, oh yeah, I've spoken to him. Yeah, I'm going to be here. I'm fully committed. You know, we're going to move on, that kind of thing.
We're aligned.
Yeah,
we're excited for next season. The players are on board. We want to build a new future, a new United. If he comes out like that, I think the only thing we'll get is in terms of a corner flag and fucking picture of Old Trafford is if he leaves.
Yeah. Well, and also as well, when it comes to like, we're talking about the summer, like that's an important aspect. If you're a Man United player coming in, you're going to want, is the manager going to be there or not? Who's the manager going to be? And if your answer is, well, you know, we're figuring it out. Like even now, because let's not be naive here. The Premier League season's over, and discussions about transfers. We already heard it. Discussions about transfers when it comes to like a lease or whatever. Contact's been made. You don't think like the representatives of those people are going, okay, so who would he be playing for next season?
Yeah,
like you would ask, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Well, right now it's Eric, and then if you
and maybe they've said it is Eric. It will be.
And then if you agreed to come in and I'm going to play for Ten Hag, and then you know, the next thing you know, it's someone else. You'd be like, well, I didn't agree to come in for another manager. I agreed to come in for this manager. But then is that when you get into the territory of, well, now it's Ineos buying players, not necessarily Eric Ten Hag getting the players in. So the manager's not irrelevant, but the manager's like, well, no, they're coming in to play for Manchester United. They're not coming in to play specifically for that coach. I don't know, but it's an important aspect of it, isn't it? It has to be.
Yeah. Absolutely. It does have to be. It really, really does. Andy says, Owen, give me one surprise United signing this summer. It's good to see Andy being nice to you.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. One surprise signing this summer. What, a specific person or position?
You choose. He hasn't specified, so you choose.
Surprise signing this summer. I mean, I don't really do surprises. Maybe something again on the lines of like a Johnny Evans last season. Like an older out of contract player that's a backup. You go, I didn't see that one coming.
What, Johnny Evans again? Then
maybe one of those. Maybe one of those in a, like something like maybe here's one. Okay, So we'll get a striker because we're going to get someone replace Martial, be it support Højlund. Maybe another striker on top of that, like that's a free agent and older than we think.
So we've got 3.
I'll give you. No. I'll give one. No, one like that. Yeah, 3.
Wait, so buy one. That's the one we need, and then the older one on top. Like, okay. I tell you what, Vincent said Luka Modric. Imagine we got Luka Modric on a free.
He's going to stay at Madrid, I think, isn't he?
Of course, absolutely. But just like he's free because like we've done the wrong thing with Casemiro, gave him like super big money and long contracts and stuff. Imagine like Modric just wanted to come back to the Prem and just went, well, we'll give you a year's deal. That's it.
But I wouldn't be shocked. Just again, in general, there's just this sort of older person, 30s, a free contract. You go, oh, didn't really see that one come in, and we might need it.
Yeah. Kenny Fan TV says KG, it's Kennedy, not KG. Oh, because KG usually calls me Kennedy on his stream. Okay, I thought you was just saying KG is in normal. Didn't realize that was your nickname. So big up to you, Kennedy. Maybe you should change your YouTube name instead of Kenny Fan TV. It's Kennedy. Maybe that's your new name, bro.
Yeah.
This just got me in the chat here. Max says, Flex, how well would UV run if Owen, Josh, and KG all suddenly couldn't be involved for months? Hopefully never happens. I like that bit. Injuries have decimated the plans for this season. I ain't gonna lie, Mac. When you say it like that, shut down the channel.
But in fairness, there is legitimately no replacements for Man United. There have been. It's not as if they played. It's not as if they played with 3 players.
There's nobody to actually do it.
We played with 3 players this season. I understand less efficiently, sure, but not. Flex was spinning plates on the morning show. It's only me.
Yeah,
but
there would be something I would adapt. Like the graphics wouldn't look how they do.
You'd be like,
the thumbnail would just be a picture like with me so close to the thing like that.
Yeah.
The thumbnail would be like that. I'd do like Canva or word art, just like transfer news going across the thing, and
you do a KG. You do 45. You do 45 minutes muted. You'd be like this for literally 45 minutes. Go. You'd be like, been muted.
Or the end. Oh shit, I'm still live.
Yeah.
So yeah, you would have a channel. It wouldn't look like this. But Flex, it wouldn't be as good, says Joe Blackman. Absolutely not. Which is true. Which is what they're saying. When you lose your key players, it won't look as good. So that's him backing of Eric Ten Hag. Ryan, the Chelsea fan, says older player on a free. Ex-United like Evans, David De Gea.
He's been doing his training. I don't know if you've seen that.
He's coming back this year. Yeah, he's coming back.
His Instagram. Do you think how wild would that be if he just took a year off?
No, he has.
Yes. But I mean, like in terms of
taking a year off,
you just don't see football players do that, do you? Just go, play next.
I think it's really refreshing, especially when you're a goalkeeper, because you can probably get back into it probably better.
And you know what? It's weird with the hair stuff is that people go, "Why he's because he's not at a club. He had no offers." You were like, well, he probably had offers.
Absolutely.
He just didn't take them because they were not enough money. He was on a lot of money at Man United.
Maybe not the one that he wanted. And it just shows you as well, right, about footballers. Bro, like they're multi-millionaires. They have to
They're
just
fine.
Not,
they can take a year off.
If you've got to be jobless, you've got to be unemployed for a year, you're not a bum. Like you're sitting on multi millions of pounds that you've got your whole career.
And investments,
investment.
He probably owns a load of stuff.
Because he hasn't, it's not like I haven't seen him do like punditry or,
No.
He would have been good to get on like, Monday Night Football or something like that. I'm surprised. They probably did reach out and ask. He probably just went, nah, I'm just chilling with my family. It's been a long old slog. I probably got a few offers, didn't want them. I'll get my agent on it all year to just work out what, and then look towards the end. And that's just what he's posted. He's probably still kept himself ticking over all year. But what in terms of posting and saying, recharging and ready, that's also the advert to the world to say, look.
Well, and also with the thing is with goalkeeping positions as well, there is only a select amount. It's not like where an outfield position, we're like, oh, bring him in, see what happens. If you're a goalkeeper, if you're coming in and he doesn't want to be backup, he's like, well, how many clubs are looking for a first choice goalkeeper? Not a lot. Not a lot. And a decision has to be made about the one you've got, whether you think he's any good or not.
Yeah.
It looked like, wasn't there was a point in the season where when Real Madrid were going through their whole thing with the goalkeeping injuries, and I think Bayern Munich had something similar, like felt like, oh, maybe that might happen, but it didn't happen. But it'll be interesting to see what his next move is.
Yeah. Would you like to see him in the Prem for someone else? Like, a lower team, like just they can't believe they've got someone like him. Like say
Who
like
would afford him? Who would afford him? That's the
no,
thing,
he's got to
isn't it?
drop his. But he can't. He's got to drop that.
Not the set, but still, it's, even this was the problem with him staying there in the first place. Wasn't it? Even him dropping is going to like 200 because he was like free. I don't know. I mean,
I think with a year out of the game, he will know it's like I have to.
Lots of people kept saying like Newcastle, didn't they, before? But then Pope's just coming back, even though he wasn't being played that much. I saw the thing that you did with Matt Renton, and he was like, I don't know why he's not playing him anymore. I know he's just come back
that was
from
weird,
a big injury. But look, I think, what was the Pope injury? Was that like a shoulder thing? Did he just get a shoulder? Or have I made that one up?
No, I think it was a shoulder. Yeah.
And if that is the case, sometimes, look, when you just get a shoulder, then just keep dislocating it after that. Maybe it's a bit of it can be difficult things to come back from. So maybe they have a look at it. I don't know. But would it hurt me about seeing him at other clubs? No, because but then again, that's kind of like how I look at things anyway. Like we do this quite a bit, don't we, with United, where we need a clear out, and then when players leave, we get really emotional that they're leaving.
Oh, why have they gone? Well, they'll get them back. Yeah, what's going on?
I miss. I saw some stuff the other day. And it was the picture of United celebrating at Arsenal. I think it's when Lingard, whether he did like the moonwalk or when he did like the Millie Rock there or whatever. It was that period of time. And someone's like, this is my favorite era. This is my favorite era of United. And I go, well, I get it. But at the same time, exactly. It's like
that could be someone really young though, who's not seen us with nothing. So that's
maybe
say that.
Maybe
I mean, that's the best they've seen.
Like we said before, it's just for me, definitely at this point now, I've got no attachment to any players. or any like managers, players, nothing. Like if it's not working out, it's not working out. That's it. Yeah. The attachment to the players ended a long, long time ago. Maybe even sort of late 90s, 2000s. Yeah, like that's that attachment. No, it's not there. So if he went anywhere else, would I feel? No, I'd be like, oh, good. We're still playing football. Shouldn't retire at like 30 or however old he is. 32, I think he is.
Yeah,
so yeah,
he will. Yeah. Tracy MUFC says, big up Flex and Owen. Thanks for all the content. As an Aussie, we don't get much, I'm going to say, if any Premier League news down here. So you guys keep me up to date. Big up to you. Big up to all the Aussies watching. Thank you, Tracy. Glad that we are. We're not always reliable. Like sometimes what we say, take it with a pinch of salt when KG's, put in what he thinks out, or me or Owen. But when we do stick to the headlines, we are reliable with that. Like we will say what is out there. So yes, big up to you. Ryan says older player on a free. Excellent. Oh no, I've read that one already. And we are up to date. We are at 1,400 people watching, basically just under 500 likes. Let's get to 750, guys. If you've just joined the stream, as you can see there, 75% of you have said you have liked the video. 76% now. 24% of you have said doing it now. Okay, so yes, please do like the video. Let's get to 750 and go from there. Oh, and in terms of the FA Cup conundrum, the
FA Cup final. Who's going to start? We're going to win the whole thing, Flex. Our last chance, not only of silverware, but of European football next season. Ten Hag was asked a little bit about the FA Cup final after yesterday's game. He says, we have a week to be 100% fit and put out a competitive team for the cup final. I'm sure we'll get that. It's all about trophies, and we have an opportunity to lift the cup. It's all about winning trophies, and as a result of it, we need to be in Europe, and it's our last opportunity. Now, we had a very long discussion yesterday on the phone, Flex, just about what we think is going to happen, not in terms of like the result, but how are we going to set up? And I'm really interested to know what people are going to say in the chat about this, because what we have seen in the last 3 games is something different from Erik ten Hag. We've seen something a bit more compact, a bit more difficult to break down. Maybe not as exciting, but at this stage, who gives a shit about the excitement? Just win some matches. We've seen a change in shape in terms of formation. You could still argue at times it's a 4-2-3-1, but at other points it's like a 4-4-2. There's like 2 false nines in McTominay and Bruno. We've seen other people come into the team and start that weren't starting previously, in Ahmad and Sofian Amrabat. We've now got players coming back in Martinez and Rafael Varane. Rashford's come back from his injury too. So how are we going to set up? Like, who is going to start? Like, legitimately, there are a few conundrums because the players like all seasons, Ten Hag said, well, if better players are back, we're going to play better routines, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And they are coming back. So you would think, okay, right, they're going to be involved. But at the same time, the last few games, points again, it's not been great to watch, but we beat Newcastle, who they finished above us in the league.
Yeah. We
went away to Brighton, albeit a bit of a B team Brighton at that point. They were very much on the beach, if you pardon the pun, but still, we won that game, and Ten Hag hasn't done that in the league. Against Arsenal, we were pretty compact, and actually, maybe if we'd have taken a bit of an extra risk, maybe we could have got something out of that game. So what do you think he does in terms of the shape, in terms of the personnel? Like, what do you think?
I think if you look at the last 3 games, especially the last 2, which were definitely 4-4-2s. I think the one against Arsenal, because obviously Højlund was starting.
Yeah,
that was a
4-2-3-1.
It was a 4-2-3-1, but you could see the way we were passing the ball, a bit tighter and a little less blasé on the ball in terms of not trying things as much, right? But the last 2 games were definitely 4-4-2, 1,000,000%. And when you look at different sites of the team lineups, they've even gone with the 4-2-2, like it's stacked up. But when you really see it, very narrow. You can see that he's done that the last couple of games. Now, I take it as, and this is all about perception, I take that as after the Arsenal game, or even in the lead up to, and there's 2 games left up until the cup final, it's dress rehearsal time. I'm getting the team prepared for what I want to do for the biggest game of the season. It would make no sense. So I hope Erik ten Hag has not done this. It would make no sense to implement something as a dress rehearsal for 3 games, definitely 2, in the lead up to it, because clearly you've been working on that type of shape off the ball, to work on something just to get to the final, to revert back to something else. To me, it wasn't it wasn't like in those 2 games or 3 games we were really playing for 6th place. Like, come on, Champions League, it's going to go down to the last day. We can really it was about consolidation. It was about a plan for the final and managing the minutes of players to get them fit for the final. That's it. And I think the team selection showed us that, and I think now his team tactics have showed us what he's going to do in the final. So in terms of, we'll discuss. Let's part the bit of what individuals will play. In terms of team tactics and team shape, I think it's very clear, and rightly so, he must play like that. And he wants to play like that. He sticks with that. And that is the right thing to do. Even if we lose, we can lose 3 or 4-0 playing however we want to play. We can flip and play 5 at the back. You know what I mean? We could easily play that. And get stuck. It could be camped in and just get battered. That could easily happen, or you concede really early and your plan's gone out the window.
So you can smash
change it.
Yeah,
you can smash anyone. So, but he must play like that. And from a managerial perspective, it shows me he's preparing the team for this vision, for this game, which I've got no problems with. Like we said, our annoyance and our grievance has been actually we should have done it. We should have done it before. We should have done this earlier on in the season. There's no shame in doing this. There's no sort of, you're making the team go backwards. Like, we got dealt the hand, we got dealt with the injuries. So the best way to not hang us out there to dry would have been this. It's actually quite frustrating seeing him do that now, because you can clearly see, yes, we conceded chances against Newcastle, and the first half against Brighton. It's still not perfect, but it shows it's far from. But
we're not going to be.
We're not going to be. And it shows from a manager that he's recognizing, I don't have the tools to do X, Y, Z in this period. I just have to do this to get through. And that, do you know what? That actually buys you more time, It makes fans go, well, you know what his principles are. He wants to play 4-2-3-1. He's not even doing it, playing 5 at the back, mate. Or we're packing out the midfield. We ain't even got a striker. He's saying, everyone get back, tuck in. So give the man some credit. What's happened is he's gone 4-2-3-1, open as hell, saying this is how I want to play. Sat down with Gary Neville, saying, thought about going defensive. Didn't want to do it, mate.
Yeah, and now it's gone defensive.
Do you know what I mean? And now it's gone defensive.
Yeah.
So I think to answer your question, and then obviously we'll discuss the individuals in a second, but he should absolutely play this way.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mentioned this on the Trinity on Friday. That I echo what you're saying. For me, it is a bit of a point of frustration where you just go like, again, it's not pretty and we're not perfect because we're not going to be. We're not a very good side this season. But had we gone, again, I look at the table in front of me here to my left. I'm here going, if we were just a bit more compact, not even 10 games ago, 5 games before he did it. That might have been the difference. And like you said, it does buy you more time because you're seen as adaptable, flexible, and you are then dealing with the hand that you've been dealt with and the hard-headedness. But let's park that to one side. When it comes to the FA Cup final, I agree. I think that and this was also my concern that I mentioned on the Trinity on Friday, was I just feel like if you now revert to type, you're asking for trouble. And look, it's a treacherous match anyway. It's Manchester City. You could put out the second best team in the world could face off against Manchester City and they could blow them out the water. I think the blueprint has been laid out this season by Real Madrid when they played them at the Etihad, which is, look, you're just going to have to fight for 90 plus minutes, maybe longer than that, actually, 120 minutes. Be on the counter-attack, see if you can hit them on the break, and then take it to something like penalties. See if you can hold out by, like I say, just playing on the counter-attack, get a late goal or something like that. Not even, sometimes, a bit like we saw at the Etihad when we played there, sometimes it's not even beneficial to score an early goal because then you've got to sit back for the whole game. So it's difficult. It's very, 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 very difficult. So I think this shape is the right shape for him to use in the final. And then you're going to have to get a bit of luck anyway, because it is what it is. I think maybe you can look at last year and say, well, actually last year, which was their big treble winning year, yes, they scored early on, but we came out of that game to actually go, we didn't really lay a glove on them, but they weren't great. They weren't great. And because, again, it's a final. So I think that would be the shape that he should go with. But now, if he goes with that shape, then that leads into the personnel that he selects for it, because you look at Ahmad, who maybe wasn't as good yesterday as he was against Newcastle or Arsenal, but he's been playing well. He's been starting. When you start 3 games in a row under Erik ten Hag, it takes a lot for him just to drop you straight out. Sometimes he doesn't like to do that. I was surprised how little minutes Marcus Rashford got yesterday, in terms of he came on in the 75th minute, which says to me that either one, he's not in the plans to start, or 2, he's still not fully fit, which again, I think leads more into Ahmad starting and Garnacho starting, which I hoped would be the case. So that would be positive. The other interesting one is the striking situation. He's played these 2 false nines in Bruno McTominay, but Højlund's come off the bench twice and scored. So does Ten Hag look at it as he scored twice, he's in good form, he's going to start because we said he's been managing his minutes? Or does he look at it as, actually, he's pretty good coming off the bench and scoring, maybe I start him on the bench again? Maybe it's like to Højlund's detriment, if you know what I mean. So I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think, do you know what, Owen? I thought about this, right? Now he's altered the shape, right, and the tactics. I'm actually less concerned about who starts. I'm less concerned about who starts. Now, what I mean by that is I know there's like, Ahmad's got to start. Come on, Rashford's been terrible, this, that, and the other, and McTominay's rubbish, or Casemiro. I get all of these factors, but actually, when you get your team shape right, and your formation right, and your instructions right, sometimes it matters less who actually plays if they carry out the instructions well. Now, we need certain players to play. I get it, because we want quality on the pitch. You know, so if there's no Bruno, I'm not saying it's fine because we're going to play 4-2-2. We need stardust. We need quality. But before I was like, if Rasmus Højlund starts, he's just going to be wrestling against 2 centre-backs if we just throw him out there 4-2-3-1. But if he starts in this 4-2-2 situation and has some support, and say he has Rashford next to him, and you go with Højlund up front and Rashford there, and then in the mid, then you've got Garnacho and Ahmad, and then you've got, you know, Mainu and Bruno and, you know, these types of players. Like, it can look a bit different. So I'm less worried that like he's going to. What he won't do is play a 4-2-3-1 with Højlund up front. I
don't think he'll do that. And
he also won't play 4-2-3-1 and put Rashford up front and just say go. He won't do that.
And also, because Martinez will start and probably Varane will start, that Casemiro then moves forward. And once again, if you get into the 4-2-2, for a Casemiro's sake, it helps him more, because that 4-2-2, and this is why I say that I don't know if Højlund starting is a sure thing, because if you do the 4-2-2 with Bruno and McTominay again, it then sometimes
Take a
ends up with
midfielder
an
out.
extra man in midfield. Ends up an extra man in midfield because like either Bruno stays up and McTominay drops back. Yes, he's in the 10, but he can drop further back. Suddenly, that two-man midfield of McTominay, of Maino and Casemiro that's been exposed this season becomes like a three-man midfield with McTominay in there, and that might help. So that's why I say that I don't. And it's wild, isn't it? Because Højlund, 2 goals in 2 games. You think, right, he should start. I don't know if it's guaranteed if he will.
No, it's not. It's not guaranteed.
I wouldn't be shocked if the team is Onana in goal, back 4, Wan-Bissaka, Martinez, Varane, Dalot.
That will be the back 4.
Kobbie Mainoo, Casemiro.
Yeah.
And then in front of them, Garnacho. And again, it depends who you want to put. Let's say Tomine, Ahmad, and then Bruno. I wouldn't be shocked if that's team. And that means Rashford and Højlund both start on the bench. And Amrabat, obviously.
Yeah, so what did you say up front? Who? Bruno and...
So it's still the same. It's still that 4-2-2. Basically, it's the same team that
Amrabat
started
for
yesterday.
Casemiro.
Amrabat for Casemiro and Varane starts at the back. I wouldn't be shocked if that's a team.
Yeah, he'll trust Scott to just...
It's a final and he'll need bodies in midfield.
Yeah. I don't disagree.
I wouldn't be shocked with that.
Here's my thing though. I don't think Ahmad's going to start, man.
You don't think so? What, and Rashford will? Because again, yeah. I'd have been more.
But he should have got more minutes by now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Friday, I was like, my head says, or my heart says, start Ahmad. He's been starting games. He's been playing better, and Rashford hasn't played well. You know, it's just because again he's been injured that there's like this question mark and all that, and he's a senior player, but he didn't play that much. And I know they could say week of training, but he started 3 games in a row. Ahmad now. I really do think. I think that team yesterday.
I really hope he does.
I think that team's pretty close.
I really do. And it is weird with the Rashford thing how you're going, well, because we forget he's actually coming back off injury himself. Like since that Coventry injury, where he was out for a good few games. When did he come back? It wasn't against Arsenal. Was it against Arsenal? Did he get some minutes against them?
I think he was on the bench against Newcastle, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he come on for like 10 minutes. But
yeah, he didn't play against Arsenal.
Didn't play against Arsenal. Didn't play against Palace.
No.
Didn't play against Burnley.
No, Coventry is just the Coventry one, I think.
So right, so since he's come back, he's got like 10 minutes against Newcastle, late yesterday, and then just final start.
And if you're looking at options off the bench, if you're looking at options off the bench, and you go, look, Højlund coming off the bench scored twice.
Yeah.
Rashford as an option coming off the bench. You got Anthony for what it's worth, did score in the FA Cup against Liverpool off the bench. Amrabat, you can add a body in midfield in the game if you need be.
Yeah.
Again, I think only a couple of changes from that team yesterday.
I still can't, and I'm with you on this. I'm with you, but then this little thing's just entering, going Flex. Erik ten Hag loves Rashford. Like, it's either he's not fit, so the conversation's been had. You're not ready yet. We just can't. You're not ready to play more than 15, 20 minutes. So I couldn't even get you the minutes leading up to this final. So we'll see how you train. Or he's already been told.
Maybe just give himself an extra reason so he can say, look, it's a fitness thing, but in reality, it's a quality and form thing as well. Whilst you were out, another guy came in. How many times has Ten Hag said this about other players this season? He said it about Varane. He said it about all these other people, didn't he? When he just goes like, if you're out and someone else comes in, you play well, then you've got to work your way back in.
Yeah, it's true. So just quickly, weren't Mason Mount supposed to be back only after a couple of days? So why was he not in? What happened to that? Yeah. What happened to that, Eric? I forgot about it. That one slipped through. Weren't he supposed to be back? No, he was out versus Arsenal. He was supposed to be back.
And he might be back for Brighton. It might be back for Brighton. He said, "Yeah, we haven't seen him.
Just leave him. Just don't."
People have forgotten.
Yeah,
people have forgotten. Yeah,
because even if he is back fit, he's gonna be on a bench and won't come off the bench.
No, he's not starting.
No, definitely not starting. Okay, right. Well, listen, there's so much to. I'm sure this is going to be the biggest talking points all the way through the week. A whole week of training to go. Let's see how the boys come out of it. Danny DeFita says, got to say, I would have Garnacho on the bench for the final. Kid looks drained, but could be used as an impact sub. I do see that. I know he might take a bit of personally seeing as others haven't done as much this season, but Erik ten Hag needs to make him understand. And that's the truth. It is like he deserves to start in the final because of all the work he's done this season. Like when we've had nobody, this kid has just kept going and going and going. So from a sentimental point, you do go, he should get that. Like, you've worked your ass off. Like, here's your reward, and you're also going to work your ass off for us in the final. But then if you look at it tactically, you go, he's burnt out off the bench. You know, he can give you something. He's hungry. He won't strop if he's on the bench. He will come on and work hard. But then Rashford has done nowhere near enough to be playing. Hasn't even played in the last couple of games. Not even ready to go. There's a lot there. There's a lot there. And just quickly, Onana, yes, was on the overlap. There has been a few little quotes for him and on MUTV as well. MUTV said, we must win this for them, the fans, because they travel a lot. They travel a lot of kilometers to support us. Oh, what a guy, Onana. What a guy. Because they travel a lot of kilometers to support us, and we feel them. They are always behind us. They travel a lot of kilometers. He's so wicked. They are always behind us when we are down. So from here, we can only thank them for all of their support this year. And he also says, for me, it was difficult at the start, and the fans were behind me. So I'm very thankful to them. Let's end on Saturday at Wembley. We will be there and we will fight until the end. They're the MUTV.
Have you seen the his quote about crosses or whatever?
No, I haven't. What's that one?
So he said on this thing with the overlap, I love it. I love the crosses, but here the goalkeeper has no protection. Sometimes I'm fighting with the guy already before the crosses. I'm hitting him with my elbow. No shit, you're hitting him with your elbow. Oh, Nana. Oh, my God.
He's a character. He's also saying, Andre Onana, this is on the overlap now, Andre Onana on Man United players receiving criticism. If and when things are going wrong, don't look for the youngest player. I'm here to take it. Bruno's there. Casemiro's there. Harry's there. We are used to it. Those are the things you want your senior players to be saying. And Onana on whether the criticism from ex-players hurts more. To be honest, for me, I don't pay attention to it. I joined this team to take bullets. So look, one thing we do know about Onana is when the pressure's on and he has to come out and face it or talk, he almost likes it. He almost like, you know, he could be playing the shittest, like
it's been a harbinger madness. Sometimes he said crazy stuff before games, hasn't he? Before that, was it that FA Cup semi-final against Coventry? What did he say? I can't remember what he said.
No, it was Brentford. He said, we got something for them.
Oh, yeah, that was it. We got some...
Yeah, 115 shots faced.
we got something for them. He said another one yesterday. I don't know if you saw this about the FA Cup final. He said,
we will be there.
We will be there.
But he did say we will be there and we will try to the end. But like, I think United District said, Onana message, we will be there. We'll turn up for the game.
We'll be there. We got something for them. That is obviously, perversely, it's almost one of my favorite things. We've got something for them and we had nothing for them. It was one of our worst performances of the season. We got something for them.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Oh, mate. Andre Onana, the Premier League is even higher than the Champions League in terms of intensity. But for me, it's a top league, a fantastic league. It's the best league to play in. So, yeah, make sure you guys check it out on the overlap to see the full extended interview. But nothing too shocking in there that it's like, oh, my God, he said this. It's just, if you just want to see it, just have a little period of seeing Onana being Onana for your Monday coffee, then do it. Where are we? Super chats all read out. Yes, we are good. We got just under 600 likes. Not too bad. Well done, guys.
8 likes away from 600 specifically. Yes. So if you haven't already, click that like button. Let's end on 600.
Absolutely, 600. Get those 8 likes over the line today, Monday. We will have the full view later on today and full view extra as well. So tune in for that. We'll see you guys later on. Anything else in between the breaks, we shall let you know. Take care, guys. We'll see you on another video soon. Take care. Peace.